Hey my friends, let's talk about how we can make the most out of this full moon that is happening. It's also a lunar eclipse and it is in the sign of Libra. So because it's a lunar eclipse, it's the start of eclipse season, this energy is going to be extra amplified. So the amazing thing about astrology is all of the 12 signs represent different aspects of our lives, of our human experience. And when you look at your birth chart, you'll see that you have actually something in all of the 12 signs. In kind of mainstream pop culture, we are only really told about the sun sign, but that is literally one tiny aspect. So we all have something in Libra. And this is another way that we can add an extra personal element to each full moon, is actually knowing what we have in the particular sign where the moon is, what part of our lives that represents, and how that then combines with the energies of the sign that it's in and of the moon phase that is currently transiting through. So Libra, at least my understanding of Libra, because my south node is in Libra, meaning it was a very strong energy of my past life. So I've had a lot of like people pleasing and squishing myself into something to be more likable, to be more accepted, which hasn't really worked out in this life because my north node is in Aries, which is very much leader energy. It's very much having the space to do things in a new way, to do things differently. So we can look at my history of, being bullied in like every school, even in the workplace, and how me trying to be more likable actually just does not work for me in this lifetime. So my understanding of Libra, that is at least the shadow side of Libra, can be those kind of people-pleasing qualities, because Libra is a lot to do with relationships. It's ruled by Venus, so it's a lot to do with love and money and beauty, but overall that kind of relationships and how we relate with other people, our closest relationships, our communities, our connections. And so I feel like this is a really wonderful opportunity to actually look at the areas of where we may be taking on these people-pleasing qualities in our lives, in our relationships, and how actually moving from a place of our own authenticity is the best way that we can have relationships, that we can actually be within our communities, be within our social circles, be within our most intimate relationships. And so the energy of the full moon is always this wonderful time because of the full illumination of the moon. It brings that full illumination onto our lives so we can really be very honest and really look at the areas that need our attention. Full moon energy is also very much to do with endings and completions and the end of cycles. And so it's really important during this time to look at things that we want to leave behind us, leave in the last chapter, leave behind things that don't fit into where we're actually headed next, where we're wanting to go in our lives, things that don't align with the trajectory that we're actually aiming for. So a really good journaling exercise or meditation exercise would be, just to ask those questions, to really sit with yourself and go within and ask the questions, where can I show up with more authenticity? And also with it being ruled by Venus. Venus is that love and beauty energy, and of course there is nothing more beautiful than our own authentic selves, and there is also no greater magnet for genuine authentic love than our own true selves, whether that is in romantic relationships or friendships or wider communities, and even professionally in the work that we're putting out there, making sure that we are attracting these really genuine connections rooted from a place of authenticity and not needing to dim ourselves or squish ourselves into a more likable, more acceptable version. Feeling safe enough and secure enough to be that version of ourselves. Libra is also this very balanced energy. And of course, when we're dealing with relationships, the most kind of stable and balanced place that we can operate from is knowing and accepting ourselves on a deep, deep level, which will magnetize and attract others and also inspire that aspect in other people. The more authentic we can be, we become this permission slip for everyone else to be in their own authenticity as well. So it just creates this kind of stability and balance all around when we can operate from that place and set boundaries as well, because of course this is the thing with people pleasing, is we often forget that we're even allowed to set boundaries. So really just looking at the areas and maybe the relationships and the places in your life where you're not setting the necessary boundaries, which is then actually causing an imbalance in your energy. Maybe you're giving too much and perhaps not receiving much back. So it's really about having a good look at these relationships and not necessarily just getting rid of all of the ones that make you feel like there's an imbalance there, but taking that power back yourself through setting boundaries. And this is one of the hardest things to do on this human experience, is actually setting boundaries with, particularly with people who are closest to us. But again, it's that thing that works two ways. By us setting boundaries, yes, of course, it can be very uncomfortable to begin with, but then it also teaches other people that, hey, you can set boundaries too, because the people who have the biggest issue with boundaries are often people who don't know that they can set them themselves. And so again, it becomes this walking permission slip of, let's respect each other's energy, each other's time, and operate from a place that feels good. Relationships play such a big part in our lives, in this human experience, and they truly can either cause a lot of stress and strain, or they can really truly enrich our lives. But I feel like we have such a big part to play in that ourselves, and so we need to get honest with ourselves. We need to get brave and really get clear on what it is that we want and also no longer want to accept, because so often relationships remain to be strained only because the two individuals don't actually know that things can be better and that they can actually create things that are better. And when our needs can be met on an individual level and then also respected in a relational way, then we can create this harmony in our relationship and in our circles, creating this balance and enriching our lives. So a really wonderful way of being able to do this is making sure that we feel rooted and secure within ourselves. And this is very much relevant for the whole theme of Libra and Venus, the planet that rules Libra, which is to do with money, relationships, beauty, all of that, because all of this is very much rooted in our own sense of stability and safety and how we feel within ourselves and how we view ourselves. So really focusing on any instability and imbalances in the root chakra, which is also connected to the element earth. Libra is an earth sign. And so what may be very supportive during this time is to be out in nature more. Do some barefoot grounding, maybe go to a body of water, because of course the moon represents the water and the emotions within us. And so being with water is always supportive, but also being with earth, whether that is some kind of a root chakra meditation, whether that is actually going out to the woods, going onto the grass and just really tuning in and connecting with that earthly aspect of ourselves that reminds us so much of our own inner safety and stability. And when we can operate from that place, that own inner safety and security, then our relationships are going to be so much stronger. Our finances are going to feel easier and more abundant, because earth is that abundance, whether that's money, love, beauty. It all stems from this connection to the earth. So allowing this full moon to really just shine light on all of that, whether through meditation, whether through journaling. Maybe you want to do a little fire ceremony of writing the things down that you wish to leave behind you, things that you've been able to shed light on through this lunar illumination, being able to write them down under the full moon and actually alchemize them through fire. Maybe you want to make moon water by actually infusing some water under the moonlight, using that amplified energy to actually infuse the water with intentions and affirmations and whatever it is that you wish this moon to support you with. So happy full moon.